All right.
With Kevin, I mean, he's got 2 years left in Phoenix. If you're the Warriors and you say, okay, well, we know it can work and we know it can make it happen, I think that's where you call Phoenix up and you say, hey, you want a boatload of picks back and Kuminga? I mean, would that be something that would get both sides going? I don't know.
Boy, Durant back in the yay?
Philosophically, I guess, is more where I think we should go with this conversation. And that is just the idea of bringing in an older player.
Yeah. An older good player, Steiny.
No doubt.
I'm willing to do it, man.
And I should. Maybe, you know what? I'll meet you halfway there. Maybe I'm not maybe I'm not emphasizing that part. You know, this isn't just anybody. It's Kevin Durant.
Right.
Or theoretically it would be LeBron James. But to me, the issue has become bigger than that. And the issue to me is after watching the playoffs, like that's just not the way I want to go right now, because I think it's just unrealistic.
Now
to think, like I don't think getting Kevin Durant in here ensures anything except that the Warriors will have the most interest of just about every team in the league. They'll be back, as the topic of conversations. But does a team with and just hypothetically, is Klay on the team?
I would say no.
Wow. I mean, I guess not. What about Dre?
I would say yes.
Oof. Does anybody else feel like that? That feels, in a basketball sense, just a little dangerous.
But
going down that road.
They were dangerous, and I know that you're going to say they were younger, but those three together helped. And I know there was Klay and Looney, but Steiny, I mean, you went to 3 straight NBA Finals, and I got an analogy for you. It's about
next year is going to be 2024, 25.
And when did they win basketball?
When was the last
2022.
time? No, when was it? You talked about Durant, and they did it before.
I got you. But it's how you feel about taking on the project. And what I was going to say is, Steiny, obviously they would like a guy of Kevin Durant's caliber, 25 years old, but where they're at, all depending on how they really feel like, the real reason they feel like they weren't a part of the playoffs, was it Draymond's suspension? I guess I'm saying beggars can't be choosy. And the reason I bring that up is it's about how you feel about said move. And if you feel like Kevin Durant can make you an immediate better basketball team and give you a chance to crack the top, get you a 4 or 5 seed, it may not work, but it's about how you feel when you make that move. And I just feel like that is something I would take, knowing I'm getting Durant back along with his age. And okay, now our window is condensed. We almost said to hell with the future, in a sense that we're not trying to rebuild. There's not too many options for you or things on the rack that you could pick and say, okay, now everything is perfect. Like, it's risk involved. But man, right. Durant right back with the knowledge of knowing he's played in this system and they've had great success. I would give up on Kuminga's future or any player's future, my best player's future, to ride that out and roll the dice to try to get 5.
And I guess what I'm saying, and this is as strongly as I felt about it, I'm not. I'm not going to, and listen, people think I hate Kuminga. They think I rip him. Well, then why am I sitting here right now saying I'm just not moving Kuminga for what feels like a super-duper long shot with Kevin Durant? The other thing that scares me about a guy like Durant or going in that direction is I think the odds of a disaster season get greater.
Something that happened in Phoenix,
not making the playoffs at all. Mm-hmm. And the reason I say that is because you go out and get an old guy and you give up a couple of your young guys. You are flirting with a real bad year if you guys get nicked up, because now you don't even have the buffer that the young guys gave you this past year, which helped you win 46 games.
Well, caller made an astute point, Steiny. We got to be careful. Not all the young guys will be gone. If you were to make a move like that.
There'll be at least 2 of them gone.
Right.
And I'm out.
And if Curry got hurt, then
I'm
it's
out.
Dre. And then I said, no, Clay. Clay could still be here, Steiny. You got Durant leading you. And if Durant got hurt, okay, you are who you were last year. So there's balance in that.
Hiva. Steiny, so do you think they'll make the playoffs running it back? No, I don't want to run it back. I guess some people are not quite clear where I'm at right now. The one thing I don't want to do is take what looks like a home run swing with a guy that is older.
Yeah.
I just can't do that in good faith after watching these playoffs so far. And going into the playoffs, we had this discussion over the course of the year about age versus youth, and I feel like on the one hand, like it's proving true. Like youth is trumping experience right now. I feel like, okay, so if that's the way I'm feeling, then I'm not going to bring another older guy in here. What would I do? I think there might be a deal. I think there might be a deal for Wiggins that makes you better. Right. Because I think he was really, really subpar this past year, but for a month.
And nobody would argue that.
So maybe you could sell another team. I'll tell you what, if I were another team and the Warriors called me about Andrew Wiggins, the first thing I would do is say, let me think about it. And then I would start calling around the league and say, what's going on with Wiggins in Golden State anyway? And maybe what you would find is, dude, he needs a change of scenery. How come? Well, just a lot of stuff.
Would you swap Wiggins for Brandon Ingram?
Hell yeah, but
we're seeing Brandon, his value is low. He came off the injury, had a bad. You're saying that's like wishful thinking.
I think Brandon Ingram is like way better than Wiggins.
No, the reason I brought him up is he had he just came back from injury,
but
a severe one.
Yeah, I would do that.
And right now he didn't. It was just bad for him.
What about Wiggins and 2 firsts for Brandon Ingram? Because I think that would be more like it. Like
that's something I think about, but
I think there's 2 moves out there that could make the Warriors better. And that is, if Clay leaves, I think you can find either a player or players at Wiggins and Clay's positions that make the Warriors better, even though they're probably going to be guys that don't have big names. But I think it's within the realm of possibility. And that's probably the way I would go. But let me be clear. I mean, yes, the first priority for me would be, can we get off Draymond Green? Yeah. Can we get off Draymond Green? Let's go to Robin. Robin's in San Francisco. Hey, Robin, how you doing? Are we bringing KD back?
No, I mean, you know what? Look, I can't stand backpedaling and a bunch of hypocrites. This fan base mistreated KD. Now it's revisionist history. We want KD. When he was here, oftentimes people get mad at me. Oftentimes when KD was here, right, he was the best player on the floor. He was even better than Curry. Oftentimes, sometimes he would put them on his back even when Curry was on the floor. Oh, the fan base don't like that because can't nobody show up Curry. Curry, this is his team, and blah, 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 blah. Don't be backpedaling now. Life is about moving forward, not going back to the same thing because that's what you're going to do too, okay? Why would I go, and this is what I don't like about KD, sitting up lying on Day-Day show, you know what I'm saying? I would never go back to who disrespected me, you see what I'm saying? Because, let me tell you something, I never said something here, what went down, and everybody talking about KD was wrong for clapping, that's because he didn't need to wait on, because Curry was out, remember? He don't need to wait on Draymond for no screen. He's like, give me the ball, let me put to my spot and do what I do. So, you know what? Mix me with all that KD talk. Now, let me dream a little bit. Who I would really love to have on the Warriors, I'm just dreaming, y'all, is Bam. That's my boy. I love me some Bam, okay? If we could get someone like that, that's cool. But let's just face the music. The Warriors are caught in between a rock and a hard place because what dictates everything for the Warriors is money, baby. Money talk and all the rest of that BS walks. Bye, baby.
Thanks for the call. Appreciate it.
I love her. Bam. I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon. But I'll say this to Robin's greater point. What if Durant has looked around and said, I need the Warriors. I made the wrong move going to Brooklyn, and this was just the icing on the cake where now right after Brooklyn, he ain't coming back. He'd still be feeling that way. But to her point, we hadn't brought it up. They did do a podcast. We could say, oh, it was Dog and Pony Show. They said they were cool. But what if Durant, Robin, has said and endured 3 or 4 seasons of yuck? And maybe he's like chomping at the bit of the possibility to put the blue and gold on.
You know, Robin, people sometimes don't like the way you put things. But she's right. She's right. I think Kevin Durant would say, hey, we might trade you back to the Warriors. You'd be like, I'd rather not.
You think
How come? Well, one, I don't want to play with Draymond. And I do, I'm just put the
bothered him, yeah.
He had
an issue.
A bad experience here.
Well, he thought he could be
on the way
more
out,
popular than Steph.
No, that's your interpretation. Your interpretation.
He said that to us, though, Scott. He said the media didn't treat him like they treated Steph. And my point was, Durant, if I was your best friend, I would tell you, you should have never thought, even as great as you were.
He never said he thought he was coming in here, and he never said, I want to be greater than Steph.
But to get
what surprised him was they never gave him the due that he deserved. It always went to Steph. He did not want to be 1A and Steph 2.
He got 2 finals MVPs, Steiny.
That's right. And the fans still didn't appreciate him.
Do you really believe
that?
I
believe he feels that way.
Well,
absolutely.
It's all dependent on what he deems appreciation. I thought the people loved him. Remember that one game where this had got out? They were screaming MVP when he was at the free throw line to make the point of, dude.
Robin's right.
Curry isn't. This is Curry's place. But, dude, nobody did not. Well, I don't want to bring this up. Bob and Fitz, they had that joke at the
Thank you.
At the championship parade.
Thank you.
I mean, okay, I'll give you that. But other than that, Steiny, we were doing the pre and post for a couple years.
Right.
We lived it. I felt like Durant got his just due. And then he got the final MVPs to me,
Finals
which would supersede any fan for what he deemed respect.
And Warrior fans were pissed that KD got the MVP and not Steph. I'm kind of with Robin on that one. I don't think the fans did great by KD here.
Wow, I guess I don't know what else they could have done. Because to me, him getting that Finals MVP, the 2 was
that's 7 media guys.
I can take back seat with my own fans if that was real, which I can't tell him how to feel. I think that's hogwash, Donnie. My thing is the world saw me be the best player and we won 2 chips. Like, that's enough to supersede, even if I was a little irritated thinking I wasn't getting my just due from the fans. So I'm asking you right now, what's that look like? What's that look like?
What does what look like?
How you could compare that you feel like the fans didn't give you your just due? That obviously
I kind of
him.
agree with him.
Right, and I'm asking you, what could that look like to one?
I don't want to come back here and play.
Oh, no, I'm saying
the dynamic
in the
with Steph is not great.
He got ovations. They clapped. I don't know what that looks like.
Come on, Goo.
No, I'm being real, man. Okay.
So you have no idea what Robin is talking about when she says, there's a little bit of revisionist history here. All these people that want KD, you didn't appreciate it.
No, I get that.
Well, that's the issue. The issue is that I do think Kevin Durant believes he didn't forget more respect than Steph. It's respect at all.
Oh, Steiny,
he didn't get enough respect.
He came here with that.
You think he doesn't think that?
No, he obviously does.
Thank you.
But we're talking about a guy that sometimes has rabbit ears.
Sure.
And nobody's perfect, but I don't know what Warrior. And like I said, I've never been Durant. I can't put myself in his shoes, but I lived that. Kevin Durant, Steiny, he was the man.
No, he wasn't. He was not the man.
Who's the best
Curry
player
was the man.
On radio? We were like, who's the best player in the Warriors? A lot of times we were taking calls that it was Durant.
Right. And did you hear the pushback? Did you hear the pushback?
Maybe I didn't. And maybe he did.
All I'm saying is, I've watched the Warriors for 30-plus years. I watched them for 3 years with Kevin Durant. Thank you. Robin saying that the fans didn't give Durant as much respect as he deserved. I would say, yeah, I kind of agree with that. I think he was taken for granted here. I really do. A little bit.
And that's different than underappreciated to me.
But
because he has a lot of characteristics that I don't like, or traits that Draymond Green has, Steiny. They're overly sensitive. Hence
it's got nothing to do with his sensitivity. It's got to do with just the fact of the fans and Kevin Durant.
I'll say this to you about that. And Robin, I'm not totally disagreeing with you. The guy that I believe that should have superseded the fans and Kevin Durant saying how much he meant to this area was Steph Curry stopping his summer, taking an airplane to go to New York to try to stop him from not making, I'm making this is how I took it, trying to keep him in a Warrior uniform. That, to me, if I'm KD, but he had other agendas at that, I'm going over here, I'm going to win with Kyrie and James, and it didn't work out. But Steiny, Steph Curry going to that extreme to try to say, hey, let's keep this thing going, that to me is the ultimate, forget a fan, that to me should say a lot.
If you don't think that Steph's limelight here in the Bay Area can impact other players on the team,
well, now,
like it just does.
Because you could never beat that.
But, okay, let's say Kevin Durant comes to the Warriors. Okay, he comes to the Warriors. All right, he knows it's Steph's team. It's Steph's team. It's Steph's team. He did not come to the Warriors and say, I'm going to take over for Steph. There's no way he came in thinking that.
Right.
So he comes here and he plays with Steph and they win for 2 years, then they lose in the finals. And I think over 3 years, he's like, man, it's not as easy. Yes, the basketball is pretty easy, but it's not as easy to play with Steph as you think, because the fan base loves him so much that I feel like I've taken some unfair brunt of the losses we've had because Steph is iconic. I feel like I wasn't appreciated. I never wanted to be appreciated more than Steph, but I did think I'd be appreciated a little more. And that's why I didn't have a great experience in Golden State. I thought I would have been appreciated a little bit more. And he might be wrong, but I think that's what he believes. And I actually think, without saying it's 100% or 0%, yeah, I could absolutely see how he feels that way.
Wow.
That's all.
Yeah, no, and again, if he does, Steiny, or anybody, I can't question how you feel, but again, I would say I don't know what was left on the bone here for Kevin Durant's experience. To me, I mean, dude, you showed just how great of a basketball player you were. The fact that they even called you, if Draymond called you in the parking lot after the 16 debacle, you came here, it was just poetry in motion. You fit in, and on top of that, Steiny, you were deemed the better basketball player against LeBron James on a team that had Steph Curry. So to me,
we're talking about the fans.
All right.
And this is where I think he's got a point. I think there was a large enough segment of fans that never let him forget he was not an original Warrior.